We have here today something a bit odd. This is an A&G Machinery spinner. Yep. That name sounds familiar. It's because A&G Machinery was the company that designed the iFan and sold the iFan. So, they also made spinners. They were a bit interesting. Conical switch housing. Ornate cast blade irons. Not stamped, but cast. Okay. Now, A&G was an American manufacturer based in Long Island, New York. Okay. Now, they outsourced production to other OEMs. Mostly CEC. Now, this one is not CEC made. I'm not sure who made this, but I'm willing to guess it is whoever also made the Megafans. I think that I heard the name Riyadh, R-I-Y-A-D-H, spoken about before, but really, honestly, I have no idea who made this thing. So, yeah, it's an A&G Machinery model made by God knows who. Now, this design, as you see, there's no label at all, anywhere. This design was initially CEC made, with cast iron motors and several sizes, 36-inch, 48-inch, and 52-inch. So, yeah, at least I think they were 52-inch. We've seen 48-inch, we've seen 36-inch, I think we've seen 52, maybe they were 56, I'm not sure. But this one's a 52-inch model. And yeah, again, this one's not made by CEC, which is a bit odd. But what this essentially says is that A&G, they designed the fans. Okay, they had design characteristics. They designed the models, and they outsourced production to other OEMs. Like I said, initially their sole OEM was CEC, but towards around 1980, basically right before they went under, they had to outsource to a different OEM, or different OEMs. For instance, the iFan, I believe it was actually made in-house towards the end. You know, it was made in America with a K63, and it had different design characteristics. Like the top plate was totally different, for example, and again, American-made K63. So, this one, again, this spinner model, initially it was made by CEC, with those tiny little blade irons, right? But at some point around 1980, I'm thinking, they switched to a different OEM for this. I'm not sure who, but it's not CEC anymore. So, this fan, alright, has solid wood blades, stamped steel motor, cast blade irons, which was A&G's design, and a bit of an odd story here. When I got this thing, alright, the original blades had been snapped off of the irons, okay? Irons are fine, but the blades were snapped off. So, they had another set of blades with it, right? Another set of blades. Here's the problem. They didn't fit the motor. The irons with that set of blades did not fit the motor. The irons with that set of blades came from an actual CEC, which implies that they had a second fan at some point. God knows what happened to it, but... So, the irons were too big to fit the motor of this fan. So I just swapped the blades over to the existing irons and called it a day. Again, A&G design, but different OEM means different manufacturing techniques, different screw spacing, and this and that. So, this fan also, well, this A&G design, single speed reverse pull chain. It was a no frills, I guess, lower end economy model spinner. You know, it was one of their, it was an economy model, basically. I mean, it was still made well, but it wasn't, you know, variable speed or 3-speed. It wasn't fancy like that. So, yeah, let's see how this thing performs. Now let's get it to downdraft first. So it's single speed, so it's high only. And as you saw, this is also a forward reverse pull chain. So it's high downdraft off, then low, no, high downdraft off, then high updraft off. This fan is Canada style. What makes me say that? Because a lot of fans with older Canadian specifications were single speed with a reverse pull chain. They weren't 3-speed. I suppose because I think one of the Canada regulations, or one of their specs, was you have to have reverse via a pull chain. Now, in the late 70s and early 80s, right, manufacturers didn't want to have an extra reverse pull chain, so they just gave them a single speed and said, screw you, that's all you get. So, now, in the US, you had either no reverse early on, or, you know, a separate switch. You know, a little plastic reverse switch, which is standard on most fans. But again, Canada had to have the reverse via a pull chain. So they got different spec things. Because reasons. Now this fan has a rather steep blade pitch. I want to say it's at least 14 degrees. So it's actually moving some air. You know, it doesn't run too much off speed. I would say speed is about 175, 180 RPM, maybe 185. Not the fastest fan in the world, but still pretty cool. Let's let it coast. Now I know this fan is old because it has a Leviton pull chain in it. You know, those stupid metal-housed pull chains that like to arc and, you know, zap you when you pull the chain. Yeah, good times. Good times. Now, the bearings in this fan are not particularly good. They're a little hissy. They're a little stiff. I'm thinking a little bit of oil, SAE 20, maybe 30, would help free it up. So, now for updraft. There's a little bit of wobble, but, you know, I'm not exactly surprised by this. Now, unsurprisingly, since this is essentially an industrial motor, you know, not really designed for updraft, the, you know, updraft is slower. But this is pretty common amongst industrial motors. It's because these motors were really designed with a bias for downdraft operation, not really both directions. So, yeah. So yeah, I would say this fan is about 1980, like my Chrome iFan. Again, with the different OEM for both cases. Because the Leviton pull chain really did not survive beyond 1981. Because they were hazardous, essentially. Then plastic pull chains came out and the problem was solved. Or more specifically, the arcless pull chain. It was called arcless because it was plastic. It was the mainstream pull chain design after the Leviton pull chain. You know, it wouldn't arc like the former. So, yeah. I guess a little bit of wobble, but nothing too severe. Turn it off again. And for mounting, this thing uses a double claw mounting bracket, double claw hook. So, yeah. Very cool design. These are not common, especially in this later stamped form. You see more of the cast ones made by CEC than you do this. I wish it were CEC because those are nicer fans. And they're beasts. So, yeah, there you have it, an A&G Machinery spinner.